I want to go to your phone calls. If you just joined us, recapping, disgusting yesterday. I watched the debate, Romney and Obama agreeing with each other on almost everything because they're globalist puppets and being told we've got to go into the Middle East because of al-Qaeda when our own criminal government and NATO and others run al-Qaeda. Just unbelievable. And now Obama supporters continue threats to riot, assassinate Romney. Secret Service attention fails to dampen violent Twitter comments. That story's gone viral. We have another report here as well. Establishment plays race card to bury violent threats by Obama supporters. And it goes on this morning. Paul Watson compiled a list of tweets from Obama supporters threatening to assassinate Mitt Romney and provoke riots if Obama loses the election, which now looks like he may do unless there's election fraud. The article has since been picked up by the Drudge Report, but I subsequently came across a number of tweets even more violent and offensive than the ones featured in the article. Twitchy has discovered yet more tweets from Obama supporters threatening violent murder of Romney, which include the following, and I'm not even going to read these on air. But this is all very premeditated. People could get, many years in prison for these. And hey, if later they selectively enforce, this is going to be brought up to juries when you're trying to put patriots in jail for no reason or mild stuff. This is going to be brought up. The establishment has tried to bury the issue by blaming the likes of InfoWars for drawing attention to it because most of the tweets are being made by black people. It's our fault, and we are engaging in race baiting. Apparently, according to the likes of George Soros-run Think Progress, who downplayed the issue, it's no big deal to threaten to shoot a presidential candidate in the face so long as your skin color is black. Imagine how this organization, which claims it's nonpartisan yet simultaneously admits its goal is centered around driving the White House's message and agenda, would react to thousands of tweets threatening violence against Obama. And it goes on here, too. There's also a lot of racial comments. I'm going to get Paul Watson to update on that. It's just amazing. Here's Fox News. Post-debate, MSNBC's Matthews claims Romney supporters fueled by racial hatred of Obama. Listen, I would have supported Herman Cain if he wasn't a former Fed governor, if he wouldn't calling for 9999, because there's another 9 in there, the FICA tax. And, if he hadn't been caught lying. I would vote for, I don't care what color your skin is. And I shouldn't even have to say that. Point is, it's the people constantly talking about race, like Chris Matthews, are the ones using race for control. And more people are figuring that out. Okay, let me go over some more of the election news here. Election 2012, Colorado. Colorado, Romney 50, Obama 46. That's one of the key battleground states that Romney or Obama need to get to win. Has now reached the 50% mark for the first time in Colorado and leads President Obama by 4 in critical swing state. That's out of Rasmussen, and a whole bunch of other polls are showing the same thing. So what do we expect to see? Well, there's election fraud going on out there, and we've got Bev Harris coming on to go over some of this. But I did confirm when I heard about weeks ago, Forbes is reporting Hart InterCivics is basically now controlled by the Romney family, and it controls a lot of the balloting. But then there's Obama supporting groups that also control some of the other machines. So I guess in America, it's how many machines you control. I mean, that's a total conflict of interest. Here's the Associated Press. Obama, Romney pumped for the dash to the finish. Yeah, it's not long now. How many days are we talking about here? Like 8 days and then 6 days? I mean, how many days is that? 14 days, 13 days? Wow. Continuing. What's that? You popped in my ear there, brother? Yeah, no, I know how many days it is. Thank you. And then continuing here. Sometimes they pop in my ear. I just heard the mic open, but nothing was said, so I was asking them what was going on. Continuing here, Obama, Romney, tangle on al-Qaeda, foreign policy, and final presidential debate. I mean, that's just totally ridiculous. They're doing nothing but discussing fantasy there. Romney won the presidential debate by looking presidential. Obama had a painful case of Biden's smile. That's the London Telegraph. That's their view of that. And that was the Republican spin I was seeing last night, was that immediately, well, he looked presidential and Obama didn't. Well, that's what the Democrats tried to say for Obama when he lost the first debate, was Obama was trying to look presidential. I don't think he lost it as bad as Obama lost the first one. But, I mean, again, it's all rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. But I have to say, Obama, I couldn't watch the last 20 minutes. But from when I saw Obama won the debate, just because, they were interrupting him so much, too. So we've got more news on that. This is an interesting article here out of the Washington Examiner. Walmart heir funding Obama big time. Well, yeah, Walmart gets a lot of its money from welfare recipients. That's where a lot of them shop. And so that's good. All the economy that's left now for 50 million Americans is food stamps, and it's 90+ million on welfare. So, I mean, yeah. The Washington Times describing Obama donor Sam Walton as Walmart chairman. In truth, the Obama donor is Walmart heir Sam Walton. And it goes on, I guess that's the correction at the top here. Can we stop pretending that Barack Obama's candidacy is some grassroots uprising? And then it just goes on with them breaking down the fact that the Walmart heir of Sam Walton is funding that. So that's just some of the news that we have on that front. Florida Republican 71 arrested for penny attack on Democratic Party offices. He reportedly threw some pennies on the ground and said, "Here's all I've got left. Have the rest of my money." And he's been arrested. They're calling it an attack. So that's just some of that news. And it's all a distraction to a great extent. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to be looking at this with Bev Harris of Black Box Voting, one of the premier experts in election fraud, who is nonpartisan to a great extent. Voter fraud is a felony. Billboards removed amid outcry from critics. And this is a Mark Salvo story up at Infowars.com. And he makes the point that you've got to have it to get a gym membership. You've got to get it to rent a movie, to purchase a 6-pack of beer, or wager at a blackjack table. There's nothing short of ridiculous that the same standards are not required to cast a vote. Well, you got Democratic operatives caught saying vote once, vote often, vote twice, vote often. But feds to probe possible vote fraud in Florida, because some groups are sending letters to people saying, if you're an illegal alien, don't vote. Trying to hope to act like there's some law and order in this country when obviously there isn't. So that's going on. But again, Democrats like the low-level retail fraud. They're famous for that. Ballot box stuffing, voting repeatedly, and some electronic fraud. But Republicans have proven they're the real Mac daddies of that. And here's Forbes. Romney's family investment ties to voting machine company that could decide the election, causing concern. And Forbes goes over to confirm that. Romney's ties to voting machine makers raise alarms. Pretty much the same headlines everywhere. Romney family buys voting machines through Bain Capital Investment. Supreme Court rejects early voting appeal. So Hardiner Civic's based here in Austin. So I'll give them a heads up. We're going to get Bev Harris on, hear what she has to say about this. Then I'm going to try to get an interview with Hardiner Civics. Or if you don't, I'm sending reporters over there. So get ready for that. Because, Hardiner Civic's been caught with their pants down repeatedly. And I really do think that there's an issue with George Soros tied into election systems, Romney tied into them. I mean, it's just, you know what? There's so many laws in this country. How about a conflict of interest laws? Where are the ethics in this country? Where these big politicians, who's the one? Senator Hagel, who started one of the biggest companies in the U.S. You can look this up, and then 90+% of the vote that got him into office was on machines, where he was literally the head guy and the owner. Not like it's just some investment. I mean, come on, man. People are voting for you on machines you own. I mean, come on. It just destroys the integrity of the entire voting system. Folks, I don't know who's going to win this. And again, they're both puppets, but it will vary. And if Obama gets back in, he won't be facing re-election. He'll have executive orders. He'll have the pardon power. But that may backfire and make people really wake up and say no to him. Or he could just totally take over. Or does the establishment want Romney in there because he's a new face and people kind of go back to sleep for a while, and then he can, quote, get things done, like legalize the illegals and all the stuff he's promised to do. I don't know. But I'm telling you, at the grassroots, people are really, you can see it, you can feel it, you can tell. Romney is ahead in this. And the numbers all show that, not from one polling company or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. It's every one we've looked at. Across the wide spectrum, this is going on. And so it's not just in popular vote, too. They got major universities like the University of Colorado there at Denver, who's been stunningly accurate the last 20 years or so in elections, saying that Romney's who they think is going to win. He's going to win 76%. 76% chance he'll win the popular vote was the number I saw last week. And that now he's starting to pick up dead heats or passing in the key battleground states like Colorado. So regardless, could there be an October surprise if Romney wins rioting? And what will that do? I'm not the one saying that's going to happen. His supporters, Obama's supporters, are the ones saying that. Now, if there aren't riots or there are only a few little ones, the media, you can better believe, is going to come out and say, Mr. Jones, you said there'd be riots. No, no, no. We're saying thousands of people are saying riots and killing and everything else. So that's the issue. And so we need to get that straight on the record. Get that straight on the record. We're going to come back and go to your phone calls. And then I thought I might tell you about something in case you didn't know it. It's now admitted what we told you over a decade ago. I knew this because of patents. All of the computer cameras on your cell phones, on your smartphones, on your computers at home are watching you. There's not a question. They're watching you. For more than 6 years, I've talked on the air about creating a social network. PlanetInfoWars.com is in its beta phase. We're just launching it. And I want to invite all of you out there to be in on the ground level. Planet InfoWars is about people coming together, forming activist organizations, getting involved politically, hunting and fishing, gardening, dating. This is a place for people who love freedom to meet and to talk and to write and to post information. And I give you this pledge. We are not going to spy on you and sell your data to the New World Order. PlanetInfoWars.com is free, so people who love freedom can get together, connect with people who are awake and know what we're facing. Be active, organize, take action, go viral, create, contribute, resist, because resistance is victory. You are victory. It's waiting for you to breathe power into it. PlanetInfoWars.com. I want to go to your calls right now, but you heard me right. Study. Vast majority of homemade porn, private photos end up online. They have software systems that hack your computers, government built and demanded backdoors and everything, and then you see all that homemade porn floating around the web even when you're not looking for it. Well, it turns out it's homemade. So there you go. And, of course, I already knew about this. It's parasite programs, but they're able to do it because the droids, the iPhones, the Microsoft systems, the Apple systems, they're all designed, as Dr. Stallman has broken down here on the air, to have people backdoor them. Of course, the chips in the Defense Department stuff has backdoor chips, but the Chinese government, who's terrible, by the way, I'm not defending them, they didn't put that in there because they wanted to do it. That's globally standardized. You can't sell computer chips in Europe, North America. You can't sell under federal law a cell phone since 1996 that they can't GPS triangulate off cell towers and that they can't dial into. And boy, I'd talk about this in 96 and get death threats out the wazoo. And engineers calling me saying you're not supposed to know that. It was all in the Telecommunications Act. See, I'm already covering this. I said I'd get to it later. It's so frustrating that. In fact, Paul Watson IM'd you the article. Will you guys print that for me, please? He did one last week, again, because it finally broke mainstream news. I never covered it. I want to cover it now. I can call him again and have him send it again. But the point is that all of that is going on. All of that is happening. And, you know, they call it hacks now. That, oh, people go in and they take photos and turn your camera on. Oh, even when your phone's off, they can be doing it. I have nothing to hide. The government says, well, just let us watch you. But the point is, I like my privacy. It's the reason I have walls. It's the reason I live out in the countryside. And so I've known for years, in my house, all the cameras are covered on the computers. In my and people come over the years and say, why is there a sticker over the camera? Oh, they watch you. People always laugh at me. Even though it's admitted that public schools are doing it, you name it, it's going on everywhere. It's happening everywhere. All right, I'm going to shut up and go to your calls. Let's get one in before we go to break here. Kirk in Illinois, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, hey, nice job getting through the news without going on a rant. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like you.
Yeah, I can't understand you, caller. They were talking in my ear. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I just said that. Nice job actually being able to get through the news without going on a rant. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying my best here.
Hey, also, you know, I'm not a Twitter user, but and I did read that article of Paul Joseph Watson today, and I'm just wondering, how is it possible that all these Obamanoids can spell assassinate correctly when everything else is a big mess? I mean, could this be like a provocateur op or anything like that?
Well, we've talked at length about that and noted that in the earlier articles. I've learned to tell dummy accounts. They're usually a few months old, a few days old. They'll have a few videos on them that aren't theirs. We went in and drilled into these accounts. And undoubtedly, now this is a big national story, I will imagine there are some spoofs, is what it's called, spoofing. I would imagine that some of that is happening, but you can't spoof a 2-year-old Twitter account with 5,000 tweets with photos of people's family, and you go, look, it is a real family. It's a whole history. No, the Secret Service has gone to real people's houses. The news reported that last week. These are real people.
Also, the Secret Service actually is doing something, although probably not enough.
Yes, it was reported, as we said, by the Weekly Standard and others. The Secret Service has responded. We've had listeners who've had family members arrested for it. But they're releasing them, but they are arresting them. And my point is they may be charged. But you separately have the George Soros media implying that none of this is happening and it's not real, or we're racist, or we're liars.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, regardless, even if it is a provocateur op, I'm not going to live in fear of it.
Oh, well, it's not about living in fear. It's about asking what's going to happen if there are riots. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we have massive preparation for riots being carried on by Homeland Security at a level never before seen. I'm saying it may be provocateur. They may let this spread as a provocateur action. Do you get my drift now?
I do.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
By the way, this film took about 5 months to make, and I was going to call it just a presentation, but it really is a film, and we're just now getting around to the trailer for it right now. The film is actually done. It's been manufactured. We're going to start shipping it out in a couple weeks. Strategic Relocation documentary film featuring Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. And it has a similar cover to his book, but I mean, he gets into, in 3 hours, 2-hour film, like an hour of extras, he gets into how the globalists plan to roll out the takeover, just really powerful info, but also deep breakdown and basically like a 3-hour consultancy. He's like one of the top consultants, if not the top consultant in the United States on building hardened retreats, hidden retreats, the safest places, and he really knows his stuff. I mean, I was shocked whenever Joel Skousen was here for a couple of days that he knew everything about the Texas Hill Country and had built a whole bunch of different retreats here over the years because it's one of the only safer places in Texas. And then I was asking him about East Texas, and he knew everything about it. I was asking about areas of Wyoming that I have intimate knowledge of, knew all about it. And it was really impressive. This guy has been everywhere. And while he was here, he just finished working on some big compound outside Austin. And he knows all about the sociology, the anthropology, the psychology of the areas. We also sell his big, thick color book, Strategic Relocation, the book. But the film is Strategic Relocation. And Joel Skousen breaks down the safest places and how to secure your home with Alex Jones. And it really is a film. We're calling it a presentation, but Darren McBreen and Rob Jacobson kind of went crazy. And I kept saying, hey, you just get it done. It's a breakdown of the film. But they ended up making all these graphics and documents and maps, and it's very impressive. So if you want to be the first to get it, pre-order now, InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsShop.com will get you there. A link through on the shop links at InfoWars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. And get it, because this is something that is absolutely vital that everyone have this, even if you're going to shelter in place during any type of crisis. And let's prepare, for the worst, hope for the best. I hope that his scenarios don't unfold. But this is high-grade, real preparation. This is the Rolls Royce of it. This is the real deal. So this is not fly-by-night. This is real, deep research from somebody that lives this stuff 18 hours a day. with yours truly giving my geopolitical analysis as well, but it's about 80% Skousen. We taped for about 5 hours, condensed it down to 3 hours. Strategic relocation documentary film featuring Joel Skousen. We should probably add and Alex Jones on there. Infowarsstore.com or 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. Or you can simply go to prisonplanet.tv and also link through there and order it there. Okay. Coming up, smartphone apps now use microphone to record your conversations. Cell phone takes private pictures without your consent. That's Paul Watson's article from last week and goes through all the admissions. But see, it dovetails with phone hacking suits hit Piers Morgan, old tabloid. AP, I'm going to tie all that together with this CBS News report study. Vast majority of homemade porn, private photos end up online. They break into your computers, or Facebook allows for its partners. They allow them into your private stuff. They sell it. And then you get to be part of the porn factory. That's like in 1984, Winston's torturing, or Brian's torturing Winston. And he says, well, he goes, of course we know you were having sex with that woman. We've got all the film footage of it. And he goes, what'd you do with that? He goes, oh, it's being recycled for proletariat use. It's being shown in the porno theaters for the proles, the general public. But so you're a party member. You're not allowed to have extramarital sex. But the general public, they're allowed to. It's only the politicians and minions that aren't. They always keep them in a greater tyranny. That's why those of you that like to live under tyranny, those of you that think you're going to get power out of it, you're blowing off your own feet. You know, I had Lou Rockwell on yesterday, and I always paraphrase, different parables and allegories. And he corrected me. Well, he didn't correct me. He unknowingly corrected me. I'm always telling the fable of the frog and the scorpion. And I always talk about the scorpion says, hey, carry me across the river. The scorpion says to the frog, carry me across the river. And the frog says, no, you'll sting me. And he goes, no, I won't, I promise. So they get to the other side, and the scorpion stings him. And the frog rolls over dying, says, why'd you do that? And he says, well, I'm a scorpion. It's my nature. But Rockwell told it better. I was saying, the elites are destroying their own future. They're getting rid of their own due process. They're going to create a hellish world. And Rockwell said, well, yeah, that's the frog and the scorpion, where the frog asked the scorpion, take me across. And the frog says, but you'll sting me. And the scorpion says, I promise I won't. And halfway across, the scorpion stings him. They both are sinking, beginning to drown. And he says, why'd you do that? He says, well, I'm a scorpion. So that is the proper fable, the proper allegory. That's what's going on here. But this is what elites do throughout history. Smart elites, even if they're corrupt, don't get rid of the checks and balances and don't engage in this type of stuff and don't create giant welfare hordes. Rome went through all this. Babylon went through this. Every culture has gone through this. The Aztecs had welfare. They went through this. And we're now going through this. And the globalists actually write white papers admitting they know they're doing this, but they say they hate humanity so much, they just want to see everything go up in flames. So they're setting up an elaborate world government to make sure they destroy everything. Lenin wrote poetry about wanting to blow the earth up. I mean, these are mentally ill people, and you have to understand that. And they have to be stopped, okay? They have to be stopped. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of species death. I'm afraid of not having great-great-great-great-grandchildren because I love humanity and the interactions and our art and our literature and what we've done. I have this connection to the past I can feel, but also understand intellectually to my ancestors who hand by hand touched through the people that came before me right back to them. You have a direct physical connection to your ancestors 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. You have a direct connection to your ancestors, but you also have a connection to those coming in the future. And I look forward into the future and see a foggy outcome. I don't know if we're going to make it. That doesn't mean I can tell, what's going to happen in the future or that I'm a fortune teller. What I'm saying is I intellectually have enough knowledge of history and where things are going that my electrochemical supercomputer that God gave me, you have one too, just use it, can look out into the future. And I don't see a clear outcome for our species. I see some type of survival of the species, but it may be irrevocably damaged. And see, the globalists are into vandalizing things. They're into ugliness. And see, I'm into stepping on them. I don't take pleasure in crushing evil. It must be crushed. It must be crushed. It must be crushed. And if you don't have a basic understanding of that at a fundamental core level, if evil doesn't upset you, if persecution of widows and children and the innocents, and if bullies and injustice doesn't get you angry at a fundamental level, well, then you aren't living. And so many people talk about how unhappy they are at record numbers. Of course, you're living in fantasy football and fantasy sports and fantasy culture and fantasy TV and video games and fantasy. You're not living in the real world. You're not satisfied. The Matrix can never deliver long term. It can deliver up front, and you can give yourself to it, and for a while it feels okay, but down the road it gets very nasty. Let me tell you what's going to deliver you to Valhalla. Reality. Biting into it. The real grit. The real visceral thing. This is what's real. This. Okay? Not this fake globalist projection. You think when you're awake that the propaganda is ridiculous and stupid? It's not meant for you. You're awake. It's designed for the zombies. You can't get mad at the public that they're totally dumbed down and don't know which end is up. They are under scientific attack. Thank God Almighty. Thank your lucky stars. Thank whatever it is you think that you're awake to a certain extent. You should be horrified by the dumbed down public. I see so many people get off on how dumb people are. It makes you feel superior. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something. They will drag everybody down. You better not feel superior over people floundering around. I see people that feel superior all the time over people that aren't as smart or aren't as informed or aren't as successful as them. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it's disgusting when little people look up at those that are successful and want to pull them down as well. It's disgusting and it's inhuman. And it's the lower order. And it's what we need to recognize as bad and say no to it. I'm done ranting. Jeff in Texas, sorry. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, I'm with you on the debate last night. It was like watching two demons trading lies about fairy tales.
Oh, gosh. I was trying to tweet things all day, and I just couldn't come up with anything. It's probably why I was getting nauseated that could describe it. I'm going to tweet that right now. Oh, gosh, you finally said it. That is exactly what I was thinking, and I couldn't say it last time. I was like, I had some mental block to the point of, it was so disgusting. I had to, let me tweet this. Of course, my tweet's not loading. My little spy phone here. Say that again. The debate was watching. Let me see if he'll do it. The debate was like, problem is it's always too short, was like watching two demons
trading lies about fairy tales.
That's it. Two demons. You're a genius. Two demons. Well, anyways, keep going. Go ahead and make your point.
So anyway, yeah, and to me, it was like they were competing for the America, you know, for the soul of America. It was like a contest of liars. You know, who's the best liar? Boy, he was really a convincing liar. I don't know. Maybe Obama was a better liar. You know, that's just what it looked. I don't know. It was just disgusting.
You know, I'm not just saying this. That's one of the most concise, almost haiku-like poetries you just said, because I was trying to figure out how to tweet last night in a short enough span, and I had all these drafts because it kept denying me. It was always a little too long. How do you say this is all a fraud, and then they're debating little intricacies of the lies, and how do you say there's scum on top of it? And that's it. The debate was like watching two demons trading lies about fairy tales. That's it. Yeah.
So, well, I'm looking for a job, too. I just lost my job. I'm in Houston. you still hiring?
Hey, why don't you start writing some pieces and submitting them to us? And if they're good, you know, write us 5, 6, 7 pieces. You might end up getting to be a writer that we, you know, pay part-time to write or something. My problem is I don't have the capital to hire more people. You know, I thank God the Money Bomb was a success. I want to thank all the listeners. We're going to be able to do some big things. If the Lord's willing and keeps blessing us in the fight against the globalists, thanks to close to $500,000 came in. Sounds like a lot. It's not with TV equipment and uplinks, but it should be enough to do the job. So thank you, folks. You're not behind us. You're right beside us. But, yeah, I mean, I wish I could hire 50 more people. The other problem is then managing folks and all the things that come with that. But we're trying our best here. Just keep praying for us. Any other points about the debate?
You know, that was really the main thing. It just was. It was hard to watch. The lies were just so. It was unbelievable. It was. It was like you said. That, you know, it was like you're in the Matrix. So. And
well, it was just all. But then in real time, you could see Obama throwing in provisos finally. Like, and by the way, we don't want to arm the wrong guys there. While they're arming Al-Qaeda, they're already getting the next story ready, you know, to keep bombing after they've gotten rid of Assad. It's a perpetual war plan to actually just deindustrialize and wreck those poor countries. And then you realize you're under the same attack here. It's just so sick. It's like it's a nightmare that never ends. And it's like, why can't people see Obama was like some weird space alien debating Count Dracula is how my wife described it last night. And Obama looked like he had jaundice, and Romney looked completely insane. Anything else, sir?
And black magic, basically.
No, but I mean, you're right. They were there like two vampires fighting over the woman they've got in the ditch. They've run the wagon off the road and they've killed the horseman driving the wagon, and then they've got the young maiden knocked out in the back, and Renfield's running around there, and it's two Count Draculas fighting over who gets to suck all the blood out of her. I hear you, brother. Great points. Yep, the debate was like watching two demons trading lies about fairy tales. Yeah, that's it, because it's lies within lies. Zach in Tennessee, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, in my opinion, it was Obama, the UN uniter, versus Romney, the Bilderberg-built businessman. And I was just going to ask two questions, if I could, after that.
Go ahead, brother.
They're going to be, we heard the clip you played earlier where Romney was praising the use of U.S. drones foreignly. Will he increase their use both foreign and domestically? And also, post-election, will Obama or Romney sign onto the UN gun grab that they previously pushed under the table?
Yeah, they're both going to sign on to it. That's why the globalists have an agenda. That's why they agreed so much on foreign policy. That's why they had trouble even fighting with each other, because it's all smoke and mirrors. But the Air Force has 20,000 drones assigned to the CIA. It's 20,000 last time I checked. 20,000 operable. And they're in the news today calling for more drones. And yes, the plan is to have them operate everywhere weaponized. And to have blimps tethered over every city. It's just a hellish future. I mean, look, it's crazy people with unlimited power that we're funding who want to play God, who are eugenicists that also love to poison our food supply. I mean, you couldn't come up with a more sickening perspective than what we're facing.
Right, and also, is it by 2016, is that when they're allowed to use them officially, domestically? That's what I've heard, or have you heard anything else?
Sure, they're already rolling them out in the next, it was 60-something, no, it's $46 billion that they put in the funding for domestic drones and the FAA funding just last year. It was earlier this year, 30,000 drones. Washington Post reported on that. It's the main source. And they're buying them everywhere and already weaponizing them, so it's here. And they're also going to have ground robots, too. I mean, they're already, the street lights in Austin for 14 years have got microphones on them, and now they put one in by my parents' house. I mean, microphones, cameras, and the street lights. I mean, this is it. And, I mean, it's all off the charts. Insider billionaire investors like George Soros and John Paulson have recently made massive moves into gold, purchasing what Bloomberg News described as gold hoards. Soros alone doubled his holdings in a single day. Russia's Vladimir Putin has doubled down on gold, increasing the country's holdings by over 100%. With $1.8 trillion under management, the bond king Bill Gross, the world's preeminent bond fund manager at PIMCO, has warned investors of the dangers of QE3 and inflation. And what's he betting on? You guessed it, gold. Friends, this is Alex Jones for MidasResources.com. For more than 15 years, I have exclusively used Midas Resources for all my precious metal needs. Whether it's bullion or collectibles you're looking for, Midas Resources is simply the best. I own my gold as a hedge against inflation. This Federal Reserve fiat currency could go the way of the Deutschmark and the Weimar Republic anytime. In these historically dangerous times, it makes sense to physically hold gold and silver. Midas already has some of the best deals in the industry. But if you give them a call and mention the radio special, they will give you a list of the day's super specials. Midas brokers are standing by to answer all your questions at 800-686-2237. They also have a lot of informative free literature explaining the opportunities and risk of holding precious metals. They are ready to answer your questions at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237. By the way, we've got World Bank luminary, breed smaller people to increase metabolic efficiency. That's up at Infowars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I have probably the last year, let's not exaggerate, 150 or so. I mean, I've seen like 10 the last week and a half of professors and scientists and news headlines about, we're going to breed you smaller for the earth. Of course, that's all Brave New World, written in 1932. And Huxley said in 1962, before he died, that was actually a real plan. And he should know he comes from one of the founding eugenics family of 1853. And you don't know what that is, you better watch Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. But, I mean, they just, and you're like, they're going to breed us now? And they just put it out there, yeah, we're going to breed you. You're not a terrorist, are you? Hey, you can't go to public school if you've got the muscular dystrophy gene. And that was in the news yesterday. We're going to make you go to a special school, even though it hadn't manifest. They're taking over. They know what they're doing. They're called eugenicists. That's the secret. That's the game plan. That's behind the facade. You want to know what's behind the matrix? That's it. And only people being in comas lets these scum win. And I personally have had enough of it. Let's go to Jim in Ohio. You're on the air, Jim. Then we'll go to Colin and others. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, brother. Welcome.
Thanks. I was just calling because with all these Twitter threats against, Romney and everybody now, I would just like to point out that not only, one, is this not a new thing, but as a matter of fact, I'm a pretty young guy here. When I was 18 a couple of years ago and going to college at the Ohio State University, all right, I had a tweet that I actually put out one day, actually on the 24th of September 2010, that was I had a particularly bad day. I tweeted that I was hungry, angry, and that I was frustrated enough to, potentially shoot some Apple Store employee. I was being using hyperbole, of course.
But they had to take it serious because of the shootings, or they would have. But here's the deal. There was a guy, when that cop shot the poor black guy in the back that was bound in San Francisco, and then the cop got off, I think it was like a year in jail. A guy on my site said somebody ought to kill that guy, close quote. And they went, arrested him, got, the subpoena, got our records, got him and took him to jail, and he got a big prison sentence. So my message to people is, this stuff's all being watched. I mean, you know what? People all the time threaten me online, and I'm not really afraid of them because I know cowards do that. If you're really going to go after somebody, you don't threaten it. But the point is, there's all these punks that think in the internet world they can just threaten people all day, and that's not how it works. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just going to say, what I found amazing about that is, I tweeted that out on like 24th of September, and that was, at best, that is a threat, I guess, and, that probably should have been said. But the reason I've even left it in there is because, and that was a threat against an employee of a store that I was upset with, and I had the Department of Homeland Security with the University Police Department come into the dorm that I was living at. Now, interestingly enough, I wasn't there at the time.
Yeah, but see, there you go. It shouldn't have been the feds. The feds are taking everything over through the threat fusion centers, and then they're always involved. So I know they can say, well, it's the internet, it's federal. Well, then everything's federal. So how'd the story end?
Well, it ended up they came in with a university police officer and a Homeland Security agent and everything, and sat down with me in the lobby of the dorm.
I was just pointing out there's all these tough guys on the internet who don't even use their real names or whatever. A caller calls in and says the debate was like watching two demons trading lies about fairy tales. I say, hey, that's great. I'm going to tweet out what you just said. I announce it on air. I tweet it 15 minutes ago, or talking about it 15 minutes ago. Someone obviously heard that, tweeted it before I ever finished it, because I waited till I proofread it during the break and sent it out. that tweeted like 2 minutes before me, so there could be a new controversy of how I stole a tweet. Like, we'll punch it up on screen for people who are watching on prisonplanet.tv. It's not about two demons, trading lies about fairy tales. That's not what we're talking. No, it's how Alex is bad. In fact, I should be put in prison for this. It says the debate was like watching two demons trading lies about fairy tales. I told the guy I'm going to tweet out what he said on air. Then this one goes, initiated demons they are, I guess in the Yoda-style talk. And then this guy says, you lifted this tweet from @FUCT. Not cool, bro. Well, I'm not cool. I'm just bad. See, so I tweet this out after, and obviously this guy over here heard the caller, tweeted it at the same time, and then I'm reported on for stealing tweets. And that's how this craziness works. Just absolutely amazing. So there you go. But you can follow us at twitter.com/RealAlexJones, or, of course, at prisonplanet.tv, where we're streaming video right now. It's just mindlessness. Let's go back to Jim in Ohio. So you sent out a thing about, I was at this Apple store, I'm so mad I could shoot that person, and Homeland Security shows up at your dorm. Go ahead and finish the story quickly.
Yeah, well, anyways, they showed up and, were sitting me down and, giving me this talking to about how I shouldn't be doing this and that and whatever, and how serious it was, and that, you could be arrested for this and all these different things. Well, in any case, I didn't even put the dots together, but turns out that they were probably most likely doing this in advance of Obama coming to campus, not, 3 weeks or so later after this meeting they had with me, which someone mentioned to when I was telling them the story later. They're like, it was probably because the president was coming, and I didn't even connect to the dots.
Yeah, no, exactly. They've got data mining deals that scoop everything up. It's an incredible technocracy. Good to hear from you, my friend. Let's go to Colin in Georgia. You're on the air. Welcome.
How you doing, Alex?
Good. Welcome.
Okay. First off, I think I have two things. First is, what's your take on the anonymous movement?
Well, anytime you hear an anonymous movement, there's going to be good people and bad people. Now the government can project onto all hackers false flags or things they do to shut up hacking in general. And they can also blame attacks on Anonymous, and then so Anonymous takes credit. Anytime something's anonymous, it's perfect for black bag operations, cloak and dagger type stuff, where they can generally blame hackers, period, for stuff the globalists have done to bring in their cybersecurity takeover system.
Okay. Well, I know what they done with Operation Blackout and stopping soda and piper and stuff. They did some pretty good things, but
yeah, but see, that's just because now anything good will be attributed to Anonymous, anything bad will be, because it's just anonymous. It's like saying, hey, we need to occupy Wall Street against the corrupt banks. All these good people show up, then the Democrats come who put the call out through their operatives and try to take it over. When that didn't work, they arrested everybody and shut it down in a federal coordinated raid nationwide. See what I'm saying? It's a projection.
Yeah. Okay, well, that brings me to my second question. I saw a video on YouTube about Operation V that they're trying to execute. And they're actually declaring war against the United States government.
Yeah, that's because listen, they're trying to pass cybersecurity. Obama's getting ready with his executive order to take the web over. I don't know about the particular operation, but guaranteed, they launched Stuxnet against Iran, and so they wanted to take the web over because of Stuxnet. Okay? We don't have a U.S. government. We have a banker government. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.